Procrastination means putting off intentionally and habitually the doing of something that should be done. It voluntarily delays a course of action despite expecting it to be worse off for the delay. So procrastinators usually are someone who knows that he or she wants to do, yet doesn't do it. It can affect our work, personal life, and also success. People may disguise avoidance of procrastination by thinking that they are very, very busy. People may find things to do that are interesting or even useful, but don't contribute towards the main goal. Procrastination involves feeling of anxiety, stress, guilt, shame, and depression. If you look around you or if you look within you, you would understand how many times you do procrastinate things. It gets a little difficult sometimes even to realize that we're actually procrastinating things, we're actually delaying things, we're coming to a position where we say the thing which can be done now, we just keep it for the next time, and that's exactly how we do it a lot of times. Procrastination affects millions of people and almost always has a negative effect on productivity and sense of well-being. It hits straight on the productivity, because when you plan something, you have planned keeping so many things in place, but while executing the plan, once you start deciding, okay, and you start procrastinating and you start delaying things, it actually kills the productivity to the fullest. The following are some of the figures that have been brought out by researchers and surveys. 60% of the people are moderate procrastinators. 6% of people are frequent procrastinators, and 95% of those surveyed indicated that they procrastinate occasionally. So it's like it's there within us, where we do not really understand what is very important for us, what needs to be done, and what can be done later. We in the process of doing what we like and where we are more comfortable, we do that and we delay things which could lead us to a better results. There are few causes, right, why this happens that lead people to procrastinate. There'd be like stress and anxiety, right? Too overwhelmed and worried to even begin working on tasks, right? When you feel stressed, when you're anxiety about something, you don't really get onto the task. The starting is always a problem, and that's exactly why you procrastinate. The next cause of procrastination is rebellions. You don't want to do it. You can't make me do it. It's like that. You just don't do it, even if it's planned for you, even if it's pushed for you, and you know that that's important part of you, you just don't do it. Difficulty in concentrating could be another cause of procrastination. Noisy, phone is ringing, desk is cluttered, too many things happening at the same time, someone else calling you for something else, you want to start something and you suddenly find that your attention is needed somewhere else. These are all difficult things to concentrate on what we do. And another important cause is fear of failure. If you don't achieve a certain mark, then I'm a failure. That's exactly where people try to procrastinate. When a new thing comes and you have this stress in you, you have this feeling in you, am I be able to do it, not do it, what happens if I don't do it right, what happens if I fail? This fear of failure once enters in you, it's very, very obvious that you try to delay that, you try to push that thing away, you try to procrastinate. Preoccupation with personal problems could be another reason why you procrastinate. Focusing on personal problems like, say, financial difficulty, relationship issue, what happened back home, I bring it at my workplace and then I think about it. I try to solve something else which is not important at this moment. A lot of our time, killed by just preoccupying things, like a lot of personal problems we bring in. It's important for us how to keep these personal things and the official things little separate and focus and not procrastinate. The other cause could be lifestyle. An unhealthy lifestyle such as improper eating, improper sleeping habits, lack of proper exercise may also result in persons becoming procrastinators. One of the very, very common reason, cause which I see every new year, I have friends who say that this year my new year resolution is I'm going to hit the gym and I'm going to reduce weight. Maybe, I have friends who are like almost 96 kgs and they want to come down to lesser, but they have this kind of an innate thing that, okay, I'm going to go ahead and then go there. But what happens? A day, a 2 day, and then they slowly procrastinate. They slowly take other things more important than what is there. The another cause of procrastination is lack of enjoyment. You don't like the task, so you turn to more enjoyable immediate activities, right? Not everything that we do is always something that we like it or something which we enjoy. So the moment you get this lack of enjoyment piece in that, you just avoid the task and you procrastinate. Unrealistic expectations and perfectionism, like you wanted to do it in a particular way, and if it is not happening in that, then you feel, okay, let's do it some other time. This might not be the right way, and then you start procrastinate. There could be other causes like lack of self-confidence. You may procrastinate when you are not confident about yourself and your skills and abilities to perform a task. Confidence on something comes when you're actually prepared for that. When we are not prepared for something to do, we feel little less of confidence there, and then we just keep the task away. We procrastinate there. Poor time management, uncertain of priorities, goals and objectives. The moment you manage your time very badly, right, you do not really know that too many things to do and too little time is how you feel, and then you procrastinate. It's very difficult at that moment to decide which is more important, which is which it comes to the top priority, what needs to be done, and slowly it lands up in a difficult situation. Inability to prioritize. See, the lack of prioritizing of tasks may also give a sense of overwhelming, which may lead to procrastination, right? It's not everybody is in a position to prioritize their tasks properly, right? We need to work towards it. Overload of tasks at a specific time. You may face an overload of tasks at a specific time which leads to putting off doing the task together. Like lot of things has to be done at a particular time. Typically, if you see the month ends, right, the sales teams typically push hard to ensure the closing of the month happens, and in the process, whatever things they have planned already for the month end would have gone to the next end, and they would very quickly get into the trap of procrastination there. Now, why overcome procrastination? So that we realized, okay, this is not something great to do and we want to come out of it, but why does this actually help? So this why should, there are various disadvantages or pitfalls of procrastination. Some of them could be putting things off to the last minute. Almost always reduces your ability to perform at your best. So you do your best when you have enough time in place and you have proper planning, and you're doing things which are done at a particular time, at a particular way. But when you shorten that time, what you do is you try to finish a lot of things in a lesser time, and then the big loss that you get is on your performance. Procrastinators often never perform, right, the required or desired task because they wait until it's too late. When the last moment you start something, it doesn't really work. Last minute pressure produces stress, and procrastination leads to stress and decreased sense of well-being or self-esteem. Daily delays leads to a chronic worry. That's the big issue. Knowing that a task still needs to be done makes it harder to enjoy the present, right? When the task gets more time than what is expected, you just don't like doing the same thing. Knowing that you are letting yourself down can and probably will impair self-esteem. Procrastination limits our success. Effective results cannot be achieved if you procrastinate to perform the important task. Success can only be granted by overcoming bad habits such as procrastination. So what is your procrastinator type? The various types of procrastinators, from those who feel guilty about procrastinating to ones who are simply lazy and pleasure seekers. Try to identify which of these procrastinator type do you fit in. Guilt types, avoiders, disorganized types, self-doubters, passive aggressives, or perfectionists or pleasure seekers. These are different types of procrastinators. They'll have different ranges from the guilt type to the lazy one. The different strategies to overcome procrastination, which we would see how it can help you. There are tons of strategies that you can use to try to overcome procrastination. Remember that there is no rehab for procrastination. It is something you have to conquer yourself. Some of the ways which we discuss right now, but the key thing over here is no one else can do something for you. Procrastination is something that is deeply within you. It's only you who have to fight and come out of it. Use a daily schedule and a weekly diary. This helps right? If you have planned your time nicely, you understand this is exactly what I have to finish it at a week's time. If this is what I need to finish in a week's time, maybe I need to do this at a day wise. That's how it helps. So simple tasks, like say for example, I want to learn a particular subject in a month's time. You break it down. If in a month's time I need to learn a particular subject, in half a month's time what I need to complete, maybe in a week's time what I need to do, maybe then in a day's time where exactly I should stand, and how does it work. Prioritize and set achievable targets. Prioritizing is an art. You slowly get in once you start working on it, and then you build on it. You need to prioritize and set achievable targets. Set the targets which you can achieve. That will help you to ensure you go ahead. Because when you set a target which you are not able to achieve, you anyway give up, and then you land up in the same position. Revise targets. It's okay when you think you are not able to achieve, revise it. But at the same time, ensure that the tasks which are there in hand are completed. But never left alone. Acknowledge the progress. Every time something happening and you're moving ahead, be happy about it. Acknowledge it, where it is going and how it's happening. Stay focused. Staying focused on a particular task which you have started will ensure that it is not procrastinated or it's not delayed for later. You continuously work on that. Avoid useless activities. Many a times it happens. Activities which can be delegated, activities which are not productive, activities which are not relating to what is required, activities that are not important for you at that moment, we still get in maybe just because we like doing it, or maybe just because we do not know how to say no to different people. But avoid useless or unnecessary activities. Reward yourself. When you have finished a task which you have planned and you have successfully conquered procrastination, reward yourself. Experiment with your standards for success. Try for 80% or even 60 or even 50, but start and then slowly improve your percentile. Focus on the process of doing an activity and not just the end result. When you focus in the process itself, you start working better and better day on day. Because if you only think of the end result, in between a lot of things could go haywire. Evaluate success in terms of what you accomplished. Every time keep a check on whatever things planned, where are you there and what all things have done. Check and monitor feelings of anxiety and depression, right? If you are feeling anxious, you are feeling depressed, something getting wrong, ensure that you are out of that. Face your fears that may be behind your procrastination. Many a times it so happens, we procrastinate not for any other reason, but we are scared of something. We have fear about something. Fear can be conquered only by facing it. Fear can never be conquered by keeping it aside. So face it straight, face it upfront and see how well it works. Celebrate your mistake. It's okay, right? There is no failure according to me. Either you have a success story or you have lessons that learned. Celebrate every mistake that you do. Replace should and fear with want and need in order to get motivated. Break down the task into smaller pieces. Now this is an important thing. The moment you see a task, it looks like a mammoth thing, but when you break it into smaller ones, you would feel that this is something which can be achievable. Wonderful strategy to overcome procrastination. Set up a reward punishment system. If you have done something that is planned, you should reward yourself. If you have not done something, then you should punish yourself. Set smart goals. You understand smart goals, right? Which should be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic and time bound. When you set a goal which are smart, which are achievable, which you could finish it on time, and then you feel proud about it, feel happy about it, celebrate it and move ahead. Change your negative thinking that this is something which can't be done, nobody has finished, I would not do not do that. The moment you change your negative thinking, you are slowly overcoming your procrastination by itself. Remind yourself of the skills and ability you possess. Stop focusing on faults and flaws. Very important. Remember that failure is an opportunity to learn from your mistakes. Reduce stress. When you are under stress, you'll end up procrastinating things. You'll end up leaving things ahead. Reduce it. Work towards it. Stress leads to procrastination, which in turn leads to stress of a vicious cycle. You will be there in that stuck, and then it's difficult for you to come out. Reduce distractions. When you're focused on something, get on there and finish it. Lot of distractions comes. You're preparing for something, suddenly an email pops up, a WhatsApp comes, a call comes, and our focus from there shifts, things gets delayed. Reduce your distractions as much as possible. Work in an organized environment where things are set proper and you can achieve what you have planned for. Be prepared, have everything at your fingertips. Identify and then avoid the source of procrastination. Figure out what is it that in you or in your work is coming in between, which leads you to procrastination. Mind you, this might be different for every individual. You need to be observing a little bit about yourself and see what is it that makes me procrastinate my work. The moment you identify, half of your problem is solved, other half is just acting upon it. Give yourself a definite amount of time to do a specific task. Don't be like, maybe a 2 hours job. Don't say that, okay, I'm going to finish it in half an hour and then it gets delayed and then says. Be realistic. Set up a time which you could do it and then, work on that. So if I put it like, procrastination is an action. What inspires you to procrastinate is combination of two things. One is your belief that taking action now will be unpleasant in some ways. The second is your emotions, the feeling that gets stirred up inside when you think of taking actions on something you would rather not do. For example, procrastination's action is basically avoidance. If you avoid something, the thought process is I am going to mess it up, and the feeling will be anxious, fearful, tense. But if you turn yourself from there to an action model where you take action, right, then progress happens, right? When you take action, progress happens. When progress happens, in your thoughts you think, get started. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? You think like, let me, just get started. It doesn't have to be perfect. Let me go ahead and do it. And then the feeling that comes out is empowered, is encouraged. That's how it works. Let us also understand how to prioritize, your time. Prioritizing your time is another key thing which will help you to avoid procrastination or come out of procrastinations. Prioritizing is a process of deciding which of the several options or tasks is important. So many things we have in hand, right? A very, very simple thing people start doing when it comes to time management is they put a to-do list and they list down every task, right? I'm sure most of us do every day. The first thing in the morning is write down what all things we are supposed to do for that particular day. And then we need to prioritize them. If you fail to prioritize those tasks, then you'll land up picking something which are easier to do, or something which you like, or something where you have more, someone is putting a lot of pressure which might not really be the most important thing for your goals to achieve. Prioritize involves deciding the activity A is more important than activity B, and it needs to be done very, very straight. When I say activity A is more important than activity B, that doesn't mean that B is not at all important. But in the priority, I will first finish activity A and then get into activity B. Priorities may change over time. It depends on what times you are, what challenges you are facing, what is the organizational requirement. You should be flexible enough to change with the time. Consider the following questions to determine if the activity is in priority or not. What are the costs versus the benefits of doing this activity? So when you consider the cost and benefit comparison, you will find out how important this task to be completed at this moment of time. How well does this activity fit into my goals? An activity is there, I have put it in my to-do list, I got to do this, but is this the activity that fit into my goal? Is this leading me towards there, or is it taking a deviation from there? Does this activity have deadline for completion? Right, if the activity has a deadline for completion, I will act accordingly. If the activity doesn't have a deadline for completion, I'll act accordingly. It's important for us to be mindful about that. How much do I enjoy doing this activity? Right, if I enjoy doing this activity, the way the activity goes is very, very different. Have I promised or agreed to do this activity? When I have promised, right, I need to stick there, and that gets in my priority, and then I need to figure out how well I will fix it in my priority list. What needs of mine will be satisfied by doing this activity? Am I satisfying my personal needs, my organizational needs, my goal needs? What is it that I'm doing? If you are considerate about these questions, right, which will help you to prioritize. And you could also look for how much time does each activity require. Many a times it so happens we assume a particular time and then it doesn't work. In the initial times it do happens. We might not be very much accurate about the time, but once it is done, we do learn that this takes lesser time than what I planned, or it takes more time than what I planned, and accordingly you need to start working. There is this there's something called as urgent and important matrix of prioritizing, which is available. Eisenhower, a principle is based on the concept that what is important is seldom urgent, and what is urgent is seldom important. Stephen Covey, in his 1994 business classic, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, rediscovered the Eisenhower principle and brought into the mainstream as the urgent and important matrix. The urgent important matrix is a powerful tool for setting priorities. The urgent important matrix helps to overcome the natural tendencies to focus on urgent activities and to focus on what really important. So the following are the steps for urgent and important matrix. Step 1. List down all the activities and projects you feel you have to do. Include everything that takes up your time to work, even if it is unimportant. Step 2. Now assign importance to each of these activities by using a scale of 1 to 5. You decide whether an activity is important or not, by seeing if the activity helps you meet your goals and objective. Step 3. After you have assigned importance for each activity, determine the urgency of each activity. Next, start plotting the listed items on the matrix as per the assigned importance and urgency. Step 4. Now analyze the matrix to schedule your priorities. There is something also called as action priority matrix. The action priority matrix is a simple technique that helps you choose which activity is prioritized and which one can be dropped or should be dropped if you want to make the most of your time and opportunities, and how to overcome procrastination. To use the tool, you should look at each activity from 2 viewpoints. Firstly, on the impact of the activity you will have, and then secondly, the effort involved. I repeat, firstly on the impact of the activity, and second one is the effort involved. After you have looked at each activity from these viewpoints and scored it, plot each activity in the action priority matrix using these scores. It helps to see at a glance the task that gives the greatest return on your efforts. So the steps to use for action priority matrix could be: Step 1. List the activities that you would like to complete. Step 2. Score them to impact, such as 0 for no impact, 10 for maximum impact. Also on the effort involved, such as 0 for no real effort and 10 for the very major effort. Step 3. Plot the activities in the action priority matrix. Step 4. Next, you can decide to either complete or drop the activities appropriately. The different stages, strategies that to evaluate an action priority matrix could be thankless tasks, could be fill-ins, could be major projects, could be quick wins. For example, say when you say your impact is low but your effort is low, these are fill-ins. But when you say your effort is low and impact is going to be high, these are quick wins. When you say your effort is high and impact is also high, these are major projects. And when you feel that your impact is low but if effort is going to be high, those are thankless tasks. Looking at tasks like this, you basically have these 4 strategies that has come out.